In this video, I'm going to educate you and help you understand our client experience and what to expect when you meet with us. So the first part is understanding what is our focus and what is the purpose of getting together. So for us in Revolutionary Wealth, our focus is really on solving three main problems. Those problems are taxes, planning, and projects. Now, let me further explain what those three problems that we solve for people is. So first off is taxes. So this is the person who comes to us and they've identified that $1 lost in taxes is $1 gone forever. They realize that when they're not planning for taxes, whether that's future required minimum distributions, they own a business and they're paying more taxes than they like, or they're planning for taxes and they're doing it inefficiently. They don't feel like they're building wealth while planning for taxes at the exact same time. They realize this is a hindrance getting in the way of their goals, growing their wealth, and creating a sustainable financial plan. And so this is the person that says, hey, taxes are a big problem getting in the way of my goals. So we focus on what are the things that somebody can do to pay the least amount of taxes and get closer to their goals while growing their wealth at the exact same time. The second thing is planning. This is the person that comes to us and says, I don't have a plan, or I have a plan and it's not working, or I have a plan and it's outdated. Because the problem people run into is when they set off and they do financial planning, most of the people they meet with, it's a products-based solution. That could be an investment portfolio, it could be an insurance product, it could be an annuity product. There's always just some product or benefit that's the solution to the problem. And 9 times out of 10, the person who's trying to help you implement those solutions isn't even clear on what you're trying to achieve. And so the mistake they make is they help you implement the wrong solution that's not even solving the problem that's getting in the way of your goals. And the way around that is to design a goals-based plan by starting saying, what are you looking to achieve? And helping you clearly understand, okay, what's actually getting in the way? And from there, when you have a plan, then you can identify, okay, what are the things coming up, getting in the way? What are the things, the problems I see or I don't see? And what's the best way to navigate that through planning? And then once we have an idea of the plan, then we come back in and say, what's the solution to most effectively implement that plan? And that may be a product or it may be a specific estate planning solution. It just depends on the person and their planning. The third thing is projects. This is the person who has done a plan. They've worked with a financial advisor. They've done certain things, but they did it, or they have an estate plan and they've worked with an attorney. And they did it almost like homework. They did it 10, 20, 30 years ago and they just put it on a shelf. And what's happened is life is dynamic and their financial planning and their estate planning does not reflect their financial planning and what they're doing. It's very static. And so they just did it one time and now their planning doesn't match their life and their objectives. And so what we tell people is that's a problem that has to be solved. Nothing in life is one-time homework when it comes to financials and financial planning. And so what we work to help people understand is how do you create a dynamic relationship goals-based plan that's not treated like a project, but it's dynamic and it can be updated year by year to change as your life changes. So those are the three key problems that we solve for people. Now, if you book a call with us, it's called a free strategy session. What's the purpose of that? Well, I'm going to show this to you. So this is our client worksheet that we fill out on our end. So one, we're trying to understand a stakeholder. Who are the key people that we're meeting with that are important? If it's a husband, wife, children, who is important in your life when you make financial decisions? And that doesn't mean that they're, making a say on what you do, but if you're, a parent and you care about your children, and you go to your children and say, hey, does this benefit you in the future? Okay, that's somebody we need to know. We need to have a relationship with that person. Okay, so who's a stakeholder? But then we're saying, okay, what are you trying to achieve? Okay, and so when we are sitting down with you for a free strategy session, we are trying to identify what are you looking to accomplish. Here's the mistake that a lot of amateur advisors make, is somebody like yourself walks in to meet with them and you say, what are you looking to achieve? And they say, oh, I don't want to, have as much risk in my portfolio, or taxes. I want to pay less taxes, or taxes is, paying less taxes is a goal. That is not a goal. That is a roadblock. So you think that taxes or investment portfolio risk, that's a roadblock. That's what's getting in the way. So the further question is, okay, you want to pay less in taxes, but why? Well, I want to pay less in taxes because then that's money I get to send to my children, or it's money I get to give to church or charity, or it's just money that I get to keep for myself for my lifestyle. That's the goal. And so what we want to get clear on is, what is your goal? What are you looking to accomplish? And what do you believe is getting in the way? Or if you don't understand, through asking good questions based on your goals, then we can help you identify roadblocks that you can't see yet. That is the purpose of the free strategy session. And really identifying, okay, if you don't address this roadblock, whether it's taxes, risk, what's the cost or consequence associated? So if you don't do tax planning, you're going to pay $600,000 in unnecessary taxes. That's a problem. That is really the breaking point of saying, okay, is it enough of a pain that you're forced to change from what you're currently doing? Now, on your end of things, that is helping you understand, are we valuable to you? So the purpose of the free strategy session is to know your goals, understand what's getting in the way, and also calculating, okay, what's the cost and consequence of not working with their team? And in the absence of that, where's the value? So if you know that if you work with us and we can help you reduce taxes by $700,000, well, that's $700,000 in additional value and $700,000 in pain that you're going to feel if you don't work with our team. Okay, and so it helps you understand, is this person valuable? And you're able to size us up and say, is this somebody that I want to work with and trust with my financial planning? Selfishly, it's also a way for us to see if you're a candidate for what we do. So we're not like other financial planning firms where we'll just let anybody in the door, because we know that by the bare minimum we add 6 figures of value to somebody's situation, and most of the time we're adding 7 figures of value to somebody's financial planning through the strategies that we do, that we actually follow through. We don't just talk about it in theory, we implement it for people. And so we're also trying to see, is this somebody that we can actually add enough value to? Because if we're not able to add value to you, we don't want to bring you on as a client, because that's time that we don't have. Vice versa, if you're not somebody who's open to change and making sizable changes and impact in your financial planning, well, you're maybe not somebody that we want to work with, because we have so many people who care and want to make a difference financially, and they want to do things that move the needle, exponential value in their planning. And so selfishly, we're also trying to assess, is this somebody that we can add enough value to that we want to have a relationship with on a long-term basis? So it's basically like a first date. That's the purpose of the free strategy session. From there, we move into an educational conversation based on your goals, where we will dive in and help you understand, okay, this is where you're at today. And if we walk you into the future and we hold up a mirror, if you do nothing different, what are the alternatives? When you look in the mirror of change, what does life look like? Are you better off making 0 changes? Or if you make a change, does it positively or negatively affect your financial situation? That is the next meeting. So you have your free strategy session, and we schedule another meeting that is educationally helping you understand where you're at today. If you change nothing, what does life look like? And then holding up a mirror and saying, okay, if you did make changes and we rolled into the future, is it positively or negatively going to impact your situation? From there, once somebody has an idea and they've had an experience to know the value that we can provide and add, then you get to make a decision on, do you want to work with myself and Revolutionary Wealth? But that is our experience. We are looking to help you make and navigate change. That is what we're looking to do, is help you make effective financial decisions as you navigate change. because change isn't comfortable. Nobody likes to change what they're doing. You may feel like you have a good financial plan. You may feel good about what you're doing, but it's not going to be easy to change. And so we have to help you understand, okay, based on what you're currently doing, are you getting closer or further away from your goals? And what's the cost and consequence of not addressing the roadblocks that are getting in the way? And so that is the purpose when you meet with our team and we do a free strategy session. That's our client experience. We're going through this decision-making process to see, one, can we help you in one of those three areas? Are we a mutual fit for each other? And how much value can we add to you? If we can't add value to you, we don't want to work with you just as much as you don't want to work with us, because there's no need for us to add more work to our plate for people that we're not adding value to. And so the only reason we're going to ask to do business with you and that you would want to do business with us is if we're providing results that we can put in place, that it's not based on a product or performance, it's based on your goals and it's based on planning. And so I just wanted to give you a further insight of what the process and the experience looks like as you have a free strategy session beyond with Revolutionary Wealth, and what separates us from most people in the financial planning space is we focus on three key problems. We focus on helping you understand your goals, what's getting in the way, and what's the cost of not addressing those roadblocks getting in the way of your goals. So if that's something that would be of interest to you, I have the link to my calendar in the description of this video, or if you've booked a time with us already, I look forward to spending time with you and getting to the bottom of what's important to you and helping you understand what's getting in the way and how we effectively solve it. As always, it's not rocket science, it's just revolutionary.